Sir Alex was always, stop, save it for the game.
Okay.
I want that in the game, but I want it over a 95-minute period. Sometimes you just stand back as a coach and go, wow. Every time you lost a game of football, I wouldn't say it's ultimate failure, but there's reasons for losing a game. And if it was lack of effort or lack of planning or lack of intention to win the game, it wasn't acceptable.
So obviously when you were there, that was a real period of success under Sir Alex. You mentioned around he wanted you to challenge the players every day. I imagine that was a huge part of why Sir Alex's Man United teams were able to have success and keep going again and again and again.
Yeah, there was moments when you had to, you challenge them individually, but then you challenge them collectively or in the small groups,
right.
You know, and how you do that. I mean, we all talk about possession football now. Well, when you're coaching possession sessions, there's a million coaching possession sessions. It's a ball with a group of players, and yeah, they're keeping the ball or you're getting the ball, and you're enjoying moving the ball around and creating space and things like that. There's a coach talking for you. That's the technical side. But within that, you can coach other things, and within that, you can create an atmosphere, and you can create a tempo, and you can create, you know, good awareness and things like this, all in just a basic idea, and not make it too complicated. Not have too many cones and, you know, all these things out there. Don't make it look like an airport runway at night, you know what I mean? Just get on the grass, set something up and let them play. And it's challenging because you're asking them to do things in the moment, literally live. So it's not a set up, detailed thing. It's more, hey, learn how to dribble, And these are top players who take on that, you know. Some are great runners, some are great thinkers, some are great skill players. Some are good at one touch, some are good at two touch. But in one little session, you can get all that out for every individual. And all you're trying to say is keep the ball, move the ball around, find space, this, that thing. But the challenge for them is to do it well, do it quick, do it slow, do it, be in control, be in charge. And when you get a good group of players, sometimes you just stand back as a coach and go, wow. You actually stand there and applaud it.
You can see what they can do.
You can see, because it's happening.
Yeah.
And all you've done is set something up, ask them what you're looking for, tell them what we're looking for in this session, and it happens, you know. And the beauty of it is, do you stop it? Do you let it keep going? They're enjoying themselves. Wow, keep that flavour, you know, keep that atmosphere in there, because they're all being competitive against themselves and each other.
Yeah.
And it's a wonderful thing when it happens. And I'm sure all the top coaches like Jurgen Klopp and Pep, they must put things on and let it roll sometimes, because they'll just go, wow, this is brilliant, this is happening. And all you've done is put something in place and let them take over, really, and then stop it. Sir Alex was one who loved to see tempo, he loved to see enjoyment, he loved to see things working, you know, and scoring goals even in practice. But he was also a little bit worried that don't leave it all on the training ground.
Okay.
Save some. So stop.
Don't overdo it.
You know. So when you sometimes see coaches who go on for an hour and a half, 2 hours longer, sometimes we were doing 15 minutes.
Really?
But 15 minutes of real top quality intensity was more than enough.
Yeah.
More than enough. And the players would sort of say, hey, come on, well, you know, we've got longer, you know, we're here all day, we'll do more. And Sir Alex was always, stop, save it for the game.
Okay.
I want that in the game, but I want it over a 95-minute period.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the intensity we try to create. And it's a beautiful sight. It really is when it works.
Kind of like practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect.
Correct. Exactly. I mean, how many times do we see shooting sessions on a training ground, or players doing shooting sessions, but actually practicing missing?
Right.
Practicing missing the goal, because the setup of the practice is just about whacking the ball into the goal or beyond the goal. But if you set up a better practice where the function is shooting, so shooting to score goals, hit the target. You know what I mean? Hit the target. Don't practice missing.
Yeah.
You know?
It sounds obvious, but I can see how that happens.
But it's just, that's the challenge. That's a challenge.
Yeah.
You know, it's easy to try and bend the ball for some players. It's harder for others, but it's harder for others to hit the target, you know, because there might be defenders who just really want to do the opposite of that, really, is get it away from the goal. Yes. But they love shooting practice. Well, do it correct, do it right.
Yeah.
You know, practice the right things.
I got a quote here from Gary Neville about Sir Alex, and quickly reads. He said, 4 days after losing the 2009 Champions League final, I saw the boss in his office at 6:30 a.m., the only person in the building in his mid-60s. I thought no one can live with that.
That's because he had insomnia.
Okay,
No,
so that's not.
No, it wasn't.
That's
No, it
not,
was.
that's not work ethic. He just couldn't sleep.
No, it was work ethic, definitely.
Okay.
But he was. You just look at the man and his background. His background from where he came from, it was all do. You know, you've got to get up out of bed. You got to go to work, and he did it a little bit earlier than most people. You know, and I think that might have been, if you think about it, his calming moment where he could go in and just
Be undistracted.
Yeah, and nobody's around, and he can. It's amazing, probably, what you can do from 6 o'clock till 8 o'clock in the morning when nobody's around, and then from 8 onwards, it's chaos.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it might be that, but everybody has a different optimum working time. You know, it might be later in the day, it might be in the afternoon, in the mornings. We all find a way where we really feel more at ease to make those judgment calls you need to make at that level, by the way, as well. You know, you're talking about the manager of Man United.
Yeah.
And also speak to people of the same sort of irk, really, you know, where they're up early and they're businessmen, or they've got. So I'm sure those types of people communicate with each other and just see how the land lies, and, you know, are you thinking in the right way, and, you know, all these types of things are there if you want to explore them. And he was very good. He was very good at communicating with other people outside of the game, and I'm sure that was part of the reasons where he was picking up new ideas and you know, wondering, has he just got this problem? Has everybody else got it? So it's one of those moments. So everybody needs it. Everybody needs that. But he was definitely a worker.
Yeah.
A real worker, yeah.
I was mentioning before we started recording that we had Mark Klapberg on the show yesterday, and he mentioned around that 6-1 defeat to Man City, and he said that Sir Alex just absolutely lost it. What do you remember of that?
Yeah, he usually lost it in a 1-0 defeat, let alone a 6-1 defeat. No, he was just, every time you lost a game of football, he always felt, and we did as players and certainly coaches, that could we have done better? With the ability we've got, could we actually have done better? Did we actually put enough into that game to win it?
Yeah.
And if the answer was disappointing and we tried but it didn't work, that's a different outlook. But if we fell short as players, coaches, or even as a manager, not acceptable. Not acceptable. And the reason, when I used to think about it, was he put so much belief in you. He chose you to play. He chose you to be part of this game. He chose you to be on that bench. He chose you to be, you know, his assistant. And you didn't want to fail. You didn't want to let him down. And losing a game, I wouldn't say it's ultimate failure, but there's reasons for losing a game. And if it was lack of effort or lack of planning or lack of intention to win the game, it wasn't acceptable. And I get that. I think that's a great way of looking at it. In high, we're talking about high professional level sport. You know, that you have to bring everything to the game. Everything. Don't leave anything short. And that's because he knew what you had. So don't disappoint. Don't disappoint. Bring your tools to the game. Bring your skill set to the game. If you do that, and we all do that, we've got a fair chance, having good players, to get a result. Then we can look at the other side of it. If we still don't get a result, we can go a little bit deeper. But his belief in winning was there all the time. Winning a five-a-side game in training, important, because it translates itself into actual competition. Can you handle it? Can you win? Do you want to win? Or do you want to just accept getting beat in training? So it's all character building, and that was his personality. So he brought that to the team. And that's why Gary made the quote he probably made, because it was, well, if this guy's doing it, we've got to get on the same wavelength here, because there must be something going on. And we're winning all the time, so it's probably the right way of doing it. And I'm sure Gary applies that now to his own business ventures and what he's doing himself. I'm sure he's got that that's been sort of laid down to him.
Yeah, just quickly on Gary Neville, has it surprised you what he's gone on to do post football? Like, what
No.
was he like as a player?
No, because everything he did as a player was worked at, was earned.
Yeah.
I think he self-confessed that he didn't feel as though he was the best player, but he had great players around him, but he was willing to put in the time, he was willing to put in the right methods. He did his homework, and I think he's carried on doing that throughout his non-playing career, really, and you can see his attitude is get up, get out of bed, go to work, do the best you can, and do it again tomorrow. And I think he's been successful doing that.
If you want to watch my full podcast with Sir Alex Ferguson's right-hand man, you can do so right here.